One of these kids is not like the other. I walk in here and find Farouk has jumped into the kennel with the babies, but I am really not that surprised. I mean, he's only 5.5-month-old pup himself, so it's really all good. Today we are busy because tomorrow the pups are going to get their ears cropped. So I need to go ahead and bring them out into the general area to do some deworming and to administer their first round of vaccinations. So if you stay tuned, you can watch us do a quick demonstration of what we do to give them their vaccinations and to just show you how simple it really is. So stay tuned. So the pups are a little over 6 weeks old, and they are large and heavy enough to go under anesthetic to do their ear crops. And so a lot of people ask, are the ear crops mandatory? Meaning, do we require that all puppies have ear crops? And the short answer is no. It is optional to our families. Most of our families reserve well in advance, and we offer that as a service to them. Some people decide not to crop. In fact, we actually have both cropped and uncropped Corsos living at our house, and we like both styles. There's a great debate in terms of the pros and cons of cropping and not cropping, and I think I'll explore that further in the next video when it's time for them to get cropped tomorrow. I'll have a whole session on what our thoughts are around that. So in preparation for tomorrow's ear crops, I need to go ahead and deworm them and go ahead and give them their first round of vaccinations. They are officially 6 weeks old, and this is when they should get their first round. And I do that myself. We do have a mobile vet who comes out and handles all of our veterinarian needs, but he doesn't necessarily need to do every round of vaccinations because that would be quite expensive. And most people don't realize that they could administer them themselves. It takes a little bit of education, of course. It's not something you should just walk in lightly and say you can do. You should always research and learn up and make sure you're doing it right. But in fact, it is available in a lot of livestock stores, like Tractor Supply would be an example. Or even online, you can find the vaccines. These don't require a prescription at all, and it's fairly simple to administer. But definitely, it is a lot less expensive than if you went to a vet if you had these small puppies. So most people don't realize that, and we don't want to get into a whole debate on the cost involved with vet care and all the costs that you end up paying when you go to that veterinarian in terms of the initial service fee or any other fees that they tack in there. But for us, we certainly have learned throughout the years how to do this, and a lot of breeders give their own vaccinations as well. So we'll go ahead and bring the pups into the general areas, kind of corral them and get them into our kitchen. Hopefully we can keep them in there and contained so that we can one by one give them a dose of the dewormer and then simply vaccinate them. We finally got them corralled into the kitchen with a little bit of coaxing, a lot of praise and high-pitched voices and toys, and we even had to employ the services of Asha. They seem to like following her. Remember now, Asha is not their mother. Their mother is Eudora or Dora, and she's over there on the couch relaxing. She has no interest in giving these kids any kind of help at this point. Asha has turned into basically our resident nursemaid. and caregiver and auntie and babysitter and all that kind of good stuff. So we're so happy that Asha has that temperament, because it helps quite a bit when it's time to wrangle the pups, when it's time to socialize them and all that good stuff. She's also the alpha, so it really helps. But all right, looks like we've got them all in the kitchen, so let's get started. Okay, we're going to be using a product made by Merck under the brand name Novavax. It's going to vaccinate against distemper, adenovirus, parainfluenza, parvo, and leptospirosis. Since we buy in bulk for multiple dogs, we also carry bulk syringes. These are just generally 3 cc's, but we're only going to use 1 milliliter per each pup. And these, of course, are disposable, so it doesn't matter. But since we can use them for many applications, it's good to have them around. Now, the vaccination actually, it comes in 2 containers. One, this purple vial, which is a diluent, or you can think of it as an activator. And this other vial has the actual desiccated virus in it. It looks like a powder, right? And it has to be kept cold because to some degree it is live. All right, and after we've obviously washed our hands thoroughly, we would open up one of the syringes. And this is where you have to be very, very careful, right? And see how you have to make sure that that needle is correctly within the tubing. That's the live virus there. And this is, think of it as activator, the diluent. So what we're going to do is, since it's vacuumed, we're going to stick the needle inside, and we're going to draw out the diluent so that it is completely gone from the vial and all within the syringe itself. Being very careful. It's an art form as well. You probably need some practice. Okay. And then we're going to put it right into the virulent. And because it's vacuum sealed, you can see that I didn't even have to press that in. The vacuum drew the diluent in there. Now, a lot of times we see folks take the vial that we've just put the activator in, that yellow vial, and shake it rigorously, trying to mix it up. And you don't have to do that. In fact, that's the worst thing you can do, because you're actually putting air bubbles in it. It will mix on its own. You might even want to just roll it slowly in your hands, and that is enough. You can let that sit for a few seconds. That's all you really need. You don't need vigorous shaking and lots of bubbles to come out. Once that sits for a couple seconds, you can then take your syringe and draw out now the active vaccine at this point, using the same technique that you used before to draw it out. And see how there are some bubbles, and that's just from rolling it, right? We're going to ensure that we take all the air out of it slowly. There's no need to shake it. We're just going to press it up until you can hear the air coming out. And you're actually going to let some of the vaccine come out of the top. That helps to bring all the bubbles. And all I'm doing now is just tapping it so that the remaining bubbles rise to the top, and then I can then push them out. Okay, we're going to do a subcutaneous administration after wiping the area off with antiseptic. We're going to draw up the loose skin behind the neck and apply the syringe within the folds. And that's it. Done quickly enough, the puppy barely notices it. And he's good to go. It's just that simple. Okay, so we'll give this puppy his dewormer, and then all we need to do is rinse and repeat for 6 more puppies, and we're good to go. Well, that's it for tonight. We have a big day tomorrow, so we will now usher the puppies back into their nursery and ultimately back into their kennel, and we'll prepare for the next morning. Thank you for tuning in and continuing to follow us on our journey. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.